say the slokas after me. Shuklam Baradharam Vishnum Sesivarnam Chaturbhujam Prasannavadanam Jayet Sarva Vigno Pashantaye Saraswati Namastubhyam Varade Kamarupini Vidyarambham Karishyami Siddhirbhavatu me sada Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Guru Devo Maheshwaraha Guru Sakshat Param Brahma Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Om Asmat Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. So, do you know these 3 slokas? Any of you? Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, anybody know that? You know that. Shuklam Baradharam, you know that, right? Yeah? Do you know Shuklam Baradharam? No. And how about Saraswati? Namastubhyam. Good, very good. What are these slokas? For example, Shuklam Baradharam. What is that sloka? It's a prayer to invoke Lord Ganesha. Right? So, and then we also said another prayer to invoke Goddess Saraswati. And then we said another prayer for Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu. We are invoking the Guru aspect. Guru means teacher. So why are we invoking these? Why are we praying to 3 different gods? So one god is Ganesha. Do you know Ganesha? Ganesha looks like an elephant-headed god. So we think Ganesha is the remover of obstacles, of any difficulties. So that's why we start praying Ganesha. And then Saraswati is goddess for education, knowledge. So therefore we pray to her that knowledge, we get knowledge. And then Guru is the guidance principle. It's the aspect that teaches and then removes all kinds of ignorance. So therefore we pray to that Guru also. But why do we have to pray? It's because to have an auspicious beginning. An auspicious beginning means for what? Why are we doing an auspicious beginning? To end things auspiciously. So that means the thing between the beginning and the end becomes auspicious. Auspicious beginning, auspicious end, auspicious middle. So, whenever you start the day, when you start the day, you pray. You just think of the Lord, maybe Ganesha, maybe your Ishtadevata. Do you know what Ishtadevata means? Ishtadevata, do you have any favorite god? No? No favorite god? Well, you will develop some interest for a favorite god at some point of time. And that prayer is to say that you are seeking the blessings of that favorite god. And that's how you begin the day, and that's how you end the day. Therefore, everything in between will become auspicious, good, favorable also. Let's say you had a very bad dream. You woke up. Then how would you feel the whole day? How would it be? You will feel a little anxious, worried, right? If you have a lot of worry about homeworks or things to be done, you woke up with anxiety. How will the rest of the day be? Anxious, worried, right? So you want to start it with peacefully, calmly, so that you have rest of the day peaceful, calm. And then you end the day also in the same way, peaceful and calm. So that's why we start anything with a prayer. So to have auspicious beginning, the purpose of having auspicious beginning is to end it auspiciously. And when we begin something auspiciously and end it with auspiciously, it means the middle is also auspicious. And that's why it doesn't matter what you see. It could be a poem or it could be a puja. Everything begins with Mangaladini. Mangala Adi means auspicious beginning. Mangalantani means it ends with auspiciousness. Therefore, Mangala Madhyani. So the middle will be auspicious also. So that's why we started with a prayer. So we will do this every day. Every time we start, we will start with the prayer of 3 slokas, and slowly I will introduce more slokas and we can learn more of these. So, how many of you know these slokas? Let us say Suklam Bharadharam. Okay, so you can learn it. I will say it a few times, then you can learn it, or you can learn from your sister. Then how about Saraswati Namastubhyam? I see a few hands. No? Then we'll say it a few times. Though you will learn that. And then Guru Brahma. Okay. So all of you know one or the other. So we'll say it a few times so that we know it. Okay. And today is a very auspicious day. We are beginning this endeavor on an auspicious day with an auspicious prayer. Why is it auspicious day today? Why is it a great day today? It is Vivekananda's birthday. It's Vivekananda's birthday, therefore it is called Youth Day. So it's your day today. Right? Why? Who knows Vivekananda here? Who heard about Vivekananda? Okay. So Vivekananda is a monk coming from India in the early 20th century. He was the leader of Sanatana Dharma's Renaissance. You know what Renaissance is? Of course you all know Renaissance. No, you don't know Renaissance? Renaissance means a new beginning, something renewed again. So, Renaissance of Sanatana Dharma. What does it mean? That means Sanatana Dharma, I'll talk about Sanatana Dharma later. Sanatana Dharma is the, you want to sit there? Sanatana Dharma is eternal way. Yeah, there you go.
This again.
Sanatana Dharma is an eternal way. Eternal way means it's not something discovered by people yesterday. It's not something discovered by people day before yesterday. It has been there forever. It has no beginning, therefore it will have no end. That's the rule, that's the law of the nature. If something has no beginning, it has no end. If something has a certain beginning, it will end approximately the same. So that's why we're starting with auspiciousness to end it auspiciously. So Sanatana Dharma is something that has no beginning, therefore it will have no end. So the eternal way, the knowledge is there within everybody. It just needs to be uncovered. That's all. That's all we are doing. So it is the Renaissance day of Sanatana Dharma. You can think of it that way too, because it is Vivekananda's birthday. We'll talk more about Vivekananda. I'll tell some stories about Vivekananda. But today, what are we starting? We are starting a journey with the current generation, the parent generation, holding the hands of youth and taking a walk. So in this walk you will learn, parents also will learn, and you will, if you have questions, you ask your parents. You can ask me too, but you ask the parents. So this is called Sampradaya. When you are walking with your parents' hand, you are inheriting something from them. You already inherited something from your parents. What did you inherit? Your face, right? You have your nose of your mom, maybe your grandmother, great-great-grandmother. You are inheriting some genes. Of course you are getting that. What else? Maybe some money, their good looks,
some habits.
their wealth, habits. There you go. What makes us successful as human beings? What do we have special that other animals don't have? Other animals just get the genetic material, just genes. They don't get so much, maybe a little bit of habits. Maybe the mother lion will train the baby lion how to hunt, right? That's it. But human beings, they pass down their entire knowledge, wisdom to the next generation. That's why we go to school. We go to school because whatever humanity has acquired through their collective effort is passed down through science, through education, what we call. But school is limited because some education is not given in school. Some education comes from the society, but a lot of wisdom for life comes from parents. So therefore, it is called proper handing over. So the word for sampradaya, tradition, in Sanskrit is sampradaya. Sampradaya means tradition. We're handing down the wisdom. It is collective wisdom. The wisdom that is coming from several generations that is handed down properly. That's why it's called sampradaya. You know how sampradaya word came? The actual root is da, to give. But just give away like a cell phone, like a cup of water? No. Prada means directly given. You are handing it over very carefully and directly. Sam prada. Samyak prada. That means it's given very well. Properly, directly, very well. What does that mean? It means that the parents have practiced it. Parents have understood it. They inculcated in their own lives. They became masters of practicing, and then they are passing it down. That's what you get as habits, the culture, the belief system. Everything is passed down that way. That's why it's called sampradaya. Sampradaya means samyak pradayam. Something that has been given properly by proper practice and given directly. And then you become the carrier of this great knowledge, wisdom to the next generation. That's why human beings are so successful. Let us say if whatever Newton has discovered is forgotten in his generation. They threw away all the books. Will we have any technology today? No. Whatever Einstein has discovered, everything is forgotten. Will we have anything today? No. So like that it goes back, all the way to the beginning of human race, or human species. Humans are so good because they collect, practice, and whatever good remains, and they pass it on. And the next generation picks it up and builds on it, passes it down. So this is the tradition. This is called sampradaya. Something followed blindly is not sampradaya. Something followed superstitiously is not sampradaya. So what is sampradaya? Sampradaya is something that is understood, practiced, and passed down. That's why it becomes sampradaya. That's why it is so important. And that's what we're doing. So that's why the present generation and the next generation, if possible a previous generation, is also very helpful in this learning, in this understanding. But unfortunately, this chain has failed at some point, for whatever reason. Let's not dig into the reasons why it failed. Several generations have failed in this responsibility. Of course, science was passed down, other things were passed down, but the wisdom of humanity, wisdom of the universe, wisdom of this very existence, which is encompassed in Sanatana dharma, somehow missed. Some generations became lazy. They said, we'll take care of later. Our kids will learn. We will go and do some fun activities and we'll drop the kids in the school. They will learn it. So that's how it was lost. So that's why Renaissance was required. Revival was required. And Vivekananda created that revival. And since then, there is revival going on. A lot of Renaissance going on. So that's why Sampradaya is very important. And within this Sampradaya, how is it passed down? There is a teaching generation and then a receiving generation. And receiving generation next becomes the teaching generation. So it's called Parampara. Parampara is a chain, a successive passing down. Parampara. So the knowledgeable generation passes it down. They practice it. They become teachers. They pass it down. So you become teachers. So it means therefore you have responsibility to learn and understand and practice and then pass it down. Right? So shall we say these slokas one more time for the beginning and then we'll come back to a story. Okay? Say it after me. Shuklam Baradharam Vishnum
Shuklam Bharadharam Vishnum
Sesivarnam Chaturbhujam
Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam
Prasannavadanam Dhyayet
Prasannavadanam Jayet
Sarva Vignopashantaye.
Sarva Vignopashantaye.
Say it again. Shuklam Baradharam Vishnum
Shuklam Bharadharam Vishnum
Sesivarnam Chaturbhujam
Shashivarnam Chaturbhujam
Prasannavadanam Dhyayet
Prasannavadanam Jayet
Sarva Vignopashantaye.
Sarva Vignopashantaye.
Saraswati Namastubhyam
Saraswati Namastubhyam
Varade Kamarupini
Varade Kamarupini
Vidyarambham Karishyami
Vidyarambham Karishyami
Siddhirbhavatu me sada.
Siddhirbhavatu me sada.
Saraswati Namastubhyam
Saraswati Namastubhyam
Varade Kamarupini
Varade Kamarupini
Vidyarambham Karishyami
Vidyarambham Karishyami
Siddhirbhavatu me sada.
Siddhirbhavatu me sada.
Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu
Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu
Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha
Guru Devo Maheshwaraha
Guru Sakshat Parabrahma
Guru Sakshat Parabrahma
Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha.
Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha.
Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu
Guru Brahma Guru Vishnu
Gurur Devo Maheshwaraha
Guru Devo Maheshwaraha
Guru Sakshat Parabrahma
Guru Sakshat Parabrahma
Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha.
Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha.
So, are you going to, if you know this shloka already by heart, when you wake up in the morning, will you say this? Just as soon as you don't have to brush, you don't have to shower anything. As soon as you get up, whatever shloka that you remember about God, just think of that deity and then just say that shloka. And then before going to bed also do the same, because when you begin the day auspiciously, you will end the day auspiciously, and in the middle will be auspicious. There will be challenges, of course. Like when you go to school, there are so many challenges, right? You have homework to turn in, lots of stuff. So that's okay. Those are all challenges. Those are not bad things. Now, I said Sampradaya means you will take something from the present generation or previous generation, take it, then you can learn, practice, and then pass it on to the next generation. Then what is the present generation going to do? Just teaching? Like, do you think I'm just here to teach? I am here to learn also. And what is there to learn? What are you going to offer to me? You can actually offer a lot. Why? How? Because young people have really fresh minds. You can look at things in a real, fresh look. Older people, because they are conditioned already, they have habits, preconceived notions, ideas. So they go in a rut, in an automatic drive. But you are figuring out a lot of things, so you can ask a lot of questions. If you ask a lot of questions, you are always thinking in a different way. You are always thinking laterally. You're always thinking differently, out of box thinking. So that will help the current generation to rethink, to understand things in a new light, in a fresh light. So that's why it is holding the hand is so important. So are you going to promise me that you will ask a lot of questions? You have to ask a lot of questions when question and answer session comes. Sometimes I will say, no, I'm not going to answer it now. We will discuss this later. Then you have to remember, come back and ask the question again. Because it is your responsibility to find the answer. It is your responsibility to demand for right answers. It is your right to get the right answers. As I said, some generations became lazy. Right? How did they become lazy? Because they didn't ask the right questions. When right questions were asked, they said, no, stupid, don't ask these questions, get away, go away. So they discouraged questioners and they themselves failed to understand. So what is the best way to progress? It is by way, like both ways. You get knowledge, you ask questions, you demand for knowledge. If I don't know the answer, then what will you do? You're not resting the question away because I don't know the answer. You are just putting it on the back burner and then you bring it back up. You will ask the question again to somebody else who is more knowledgeable, or demand, tell me where I can find the answer. You have to do the same with your parents too. So for all life questions, this is how you have to approach. You follow what I'm saying? You have to ask questions. And when the question and answer session comes, you have to really ask the questions. And you can ask questions only when you understand what I'm saying. If you don't understand what I'm saying, can you ask good questions? Can you? If you don't understand what I'm saying? No. Right? So you have to understand. And then you can ask good questions. So Vivekananda, once he went to his teacher. His teacher is great, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. He's a great saint. But he's always lost in some kind of a trance. He's always connected with the supreme divinity that is everywhere. So it's like a madman. Sometimes when you see, if you don't understand where he is coming from, he's like a mad person. But he's connected to the divinity that is everywhere. So that means he does not have to recall from his knowledge, oh, I studied in this book, so therefore, he does not have to recall. Because he is directly connected to the eternal source of knowledge. His answers are perfect, ever fresh, and infallible. Do you know what that word means? Infallible means there is no falsehood at all. Absolute truth. But Vivekananda is a very young mind like you. He's very inquisitive. He questions everything. So he doesn't believe anything just because somebody said it. So he really tested his guru, his teacher Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. He did not accept him as a guru until all his questions were answered. Until he became really convinced that, okay, this guru is real guru. He knows stuff. Until then, he did not rest. But once he tested everything, all the tests are done, guru passed all the tests, not the student passing the tests, guru passed all the tests. Then the student accepted the teacher wholeheartedly, completely, without any doubts whatsoever. Until then, you have to ask the question, you have to understand. So that is very important process in Sanatana Dharma. I said Sanatana Dharma is eternal way or eternal path. So in this eternal path, questions are never silenced. Questioners are never to be silenced. Only answer comes only when question is asked. Until then, answer doesn't come. Like, I don't know, have anybody read maybe even translations of Ramayana or Mahabharata? Or you heard the stories, right? Do you know how Ramayana begins? Ramayana begins, yeah.
With Sita Mata and Ram Ji getting married.
Yeah, that is actually not the beginning though. That is probably you go 1/6 way, that's where it begins. But the Ramayana began with the writer, the author of Ramayana, Valmiki, asking a question. he asked a question to the divine sage Narada. There is a divine sage. He came and the author Valmiki asked a question and then he gave an answer. And that answer was written down in the form of a big poem. It became Ramayana. And the same thing with Mahabharata too. Mahabharata all started with some rishis, some sages, somebody doing some kind of rituals. They asked a wise man about the story of Pandavas. So this happened. They're called Shaunakadi Rishis. Shaunakadi Munis asked the question to Suta Mahamuni and he narrated the story. But he did not narrate the story just out of his head. He said, I heard this story when Vaishampayana, another sage, was narrating this story to Janamejaya, a king. So he heard the story, so he re-narrated it with some additions, with some commentary. So that means within this dialogue, there is a smaller dialogue of Vaishampayana and Janamejaya. And within this dialogue again, there are so many other smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller dialogues. They are nested dialogues. Like that, if you go down, you go down like 6 or 7 levels. But everything begins with a question. And only a question brings an answer. Right? So, do you know the word, the Sanskrit word or Telugu word or whatever language word for question is? Your mother tongue? In your mother tongue, do you know?
Prashna.
Prashna. Have you heard that word Prashna?
Yeah.
You heard that? Yeah. Prashna. Right? So you know what Prashna means?
Question.
Simple English meaning is question. But Prashna is arising because you have something called Sandeham. Sandeham we translate that to doubt. But that's not the meaning. Sandeham means something that grows inside you if it is not addressed properly. That means you have a question, right? Nobody answered it. What happens? The question will keep on growing inside you, keep on bothering you. It will become bigger and bigger within you if you are a seeker, right? So that is called Sandeha. Sandeha means Samyak Dihyati. Something that really grows is Sandeha. So then how do you address it? You put it to a good sleep. Prashna. Shna means sleeping. Prakarshena shnayate iti prashna. So that means only when you ask the question in the right way, appropriately, then there is a chance of finding an answer or a cure for this something that is going inside, making you restless. So that's why prashna is so important. So prashna has to put stop to all the questions that you have, all the doubts you have. That's why prashna. Anyway, you don't have to remember that. But what is the total message today?
Questions are important.
Excellent. I like that. And what else did we discuss?
Like how you have to pass down your knowledge, and that the first generation has to practice it before they can pass it down.
Excellent. We learned about Sampradaya. Very good. Very good. Superb answer. Another thing that we discussed?
How the younger generation can also pose certain challenges to their gurus, causing their gurus also to learn.
Yeah. Questions. That connects to questions. Yeah. Very good. Another thing, we will start things in an auspicious way with a short prayer. We will start the day with a short prayer. For why? What is the reason?
To end.
So that we can have an auspicious middle,
Auspicious middle and
and then end it.
auspicious end. That's the reason why everything that we do, anything that we do, begins with an auspiciousness, ends with auspiciousness, and the middle is also auspicious. Excellent answers. Okay. And I will say one more sloka, say it after me, and then we will end it. Okay? Kayena vacha manasi indriyairva
कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियैर्वा
बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात्
बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात्
करोमि यद्यत् सकलं परस्मै
करोमि यद्यत् सकलं परस्मै
नारायणायेति समर्पयामि
नारायणायेति समर्पयामि
कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियैर्वा
कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियैर्वा
बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात्
बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात्
करोमि यद्यत् सकलं परस्मै
करोमि यद्यत् सकलं परस्मै
नारायणायेति समर्पयामि
नारायणायेति समर्पयामि